keep us going, Tim. Sprint.
Oh, I'm fading fast.
Sprint. Uh-oh.
Hello, Ms. Jane.
Hello. We have 5 cases of COVID at Carroll Manor, so I tested negative, but I'm still wearing a mask just to precaution or to protect everyone. Yeah, I just tested negative for the 2nd time last night, but I'm still going to wear it. So.
Thank you.
So my first budget hearing, I didn't hear how they started, but the budget hearing. So I don't know how to start it, but my total request. Oh,
So superintendent, percentage raise?
Yeah. So I did 10% for everyone,
Okay.
and for myself, we'll start with the top part of this, full-time aide, 10% for her also, and 10% for myself. I also down on the assistant, I requested an assistant again, but at 20 hours a week, at $18 an hour, is how I came to that figure, because I wanted to ask for a sliding scale for my part-time people, from 13 to 16.50, and I didn't feel that if I did have an assistant, they should be making the same as the people on the floor. But I do feel that I need someone else in that office that can be there or be a boss when I'm not there.
So to recap
So the
that-
numbers I put for the 16.50 requesting for my part-timers, that was the max. That was at 16.50. I didn't put the figures if they were all still 13.
So the assistant superintendent, you want for 20 hours a week, 18 hours, and then for your part-time people, you want a sliding scale of 13 to 16.50?
Yes, because they're mostly making $13 an hour now.
Okay.
So that's what I
And
think.
everybody full-time, you want 10%?
Yeah, it's just the one full-time person that we have, and then myself.
Okay.
So, and that's how I got the percentages for the perf and the social security numbers.
Your food, you went to 50.
So the food, I went back up to 52,000, but I got the USDA paper showing how much it costs to feed a person per day. And it was done over the summer, was the last on the table. And I looked at the people from 71 years of age and up. They had a male and a female chart, and I did not the lowest end and not the highest end, but in the middle. And that's based on, so 16 residents is what we have right now, but I have 4 people waiting to turn their applications in once the COVID is gone. So I'm on track to have 20 residents by the end of the year, possibly 21. And so I knew that we would need that money to feed them. This year we relied a lot on donations, so I couldn't really get an accurate number for how much the groceries were going to cost because we used 3 months, we didn't have to buy food.
What did it say it was to cost to feed a person?
Up per day, $8.28 was the middle.
Sorry.
$8.28 per
What's
day
that?
for someone that was 71 years old.
3 meals,
for
2
3 meals
snacks,
a
is
day.
that the layout? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I didn't want to cut it too short if we did get more than 20 or 16, you know, and less, so that's why I asked for that.
Jim, you might correct that when you took over that you had food in the cupboards and.
We
you
had a lot of
food.
stuff, but nothing that would make meals. Not a lot, like, it would be the weirdest
It was
meals
the
ever.
riffraff of food,
Yeah.
I would call it, to where stuff.
Yeah,
you
like we
didn't
might have a
have
bunch of
food.
one thing, but we didn't have, you wouldn't have all the food
Didn't have-
groups.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Things like that. We had a lot of paper products and office supplies in excess, so that was mostly that stuff. The cleaning, I think I kept the same at $7,000, asking for cleaning and miscellaneous. But the paper, I went down 2,000 because we have enough there.
Building repairs and structure.
Yeah, I went up on that just because I don't feel like a building that's 150 years old, $5,000 doesn't really cover to fix a whole lot. So I went up on that and 2,500 extra on the line below that. Medical and office supplies have stayed the same way.
Looks like everything else is the same.
Yeah, utility, all that stuff, I kept the same. I mean, utilities, I think I averaged the past 2 or 3 years, and it's right about, I'm shocked actually, 37, about right below that, so it's It hasn't changed in the last few years, I was surprised. So I kept it the same.
So was your rate change approved?
The rate, yes, so they're going up to, it's 11% right now, so they'll be, the rate will be $2,127.04.
Say that again, please.
$2,127.04.
Is that per person?
So that's for the self-pay or the private pay. Not everyone is private pay. There's negotiated rate people that the commissioners, there's an ordinance on that we have to subtract certain things like their personal allowance that is set for them by the state, and if they have like funeral expenses that come out or medicine co-pays. Other than that, the rest of the money comes to us. That's what they pay in the rent. So say they only got $2,000 a month in Social Security, disability, whatever they get, we would subtract those certain things, and then whatever was left is what they would give to us. So there is that gap where they're not paying that full rate.
So
And
the-
now we're accepting like families, like,
But we're not, that was, not the correct information. We're not accepting families.
Are there families?
Nope,
There
they
has
didn't
never
even come
been.
there.
There has
So,
never been there.
No,
Interesting.
so misleading headlines, I guess.
Okay, how many people will be paying this 20?
Of the, right now, the private pay, it's 10 of them. I have another private pay woman, she's waiting for us to have all native cases. She's already got her paperwork filled out. So I just have to get the commissioners to sign it, and she'll be private pay. That brings us to 11 private pay. We have two that are still the RCAP, so, so at least 4 that are negotiated rate. I think I calculated last year, subtracting, like if they would have paid the private pay, that was a loss of $40,000 that we could have had if there was, from wherever, the money to bring them up to that private pay rate.
they negotiate, like, how do they have
There's an
like
ordinance.
policy or?
It's an
they
ordinance that the
follow?
commissioners did, and I think it was to bridge that gap.
So they base it on income then?
Yeah, it's income based, and yeah, but then there's nobody to pick up that difference.
Does that
There's
need
no
to be
state
looked at?
program or anything?
I mean, maybe that one needs to be looked at too,
Well,
but I thought
even-
there was state regulations.
So I have, yeah, and I'll have to look, that was a question I had for the commissioners, yeah. And even the state, when they pay, so we get the RCAP, so they pay a portion based off of their income over their life. And then the state pays, right now, it's only $47.50 a day, which they are going to increase it. They didn't say to what or when that's gonna take effect, but even then, there's still a gap from what the state pays even. They don't end up paying the full
That's
price.
1444 a month. How many of those do you have?
Of the negotiated or
The state.
This 2. And we have 2 that their applications are still in Indianapolis. So it should be 4. I don't see why they wouldn't qualify, but.
And then also too, the food programs that you were looking at?
Yeah, so we now
Did
for
we
the
get into
first time
those?
have gotten the, not is it Food Finders?
Mhm.
Yeah, so we started getting some food from there. We got our tax exempt status from the Faithful Friends. And so we got our freezers filled, doing that.
And IBC is still donating?
And they're still donating, they donate, the bacon every month, 5 boxes of bacon, and loins or tenderloins, and spare ribs every month. Those are the only options that we have, but yeah, it's good, and it lasts us the month, if not more on the ribs. So we're
Did anybody
utilizing
reach
that,
out to
and we're checking
Tyson?
with the trustees. Tyson, we have a woman that goes and she brings different things from them to us. It's not always the same thing. We might get sausage one month and then next meats, lunch meats or whatever. Purdue is donating eggs every month. We actually have an abundance of eggs, so we're not having to buy those.
Well, that's good that the outreach on food is getting that hard.
We are contacting all the trustees from where the residents lived prior to moving into Carroll Manor to see if there's any assistance that the trustees, so it's not all on Deer Creek Township, which is where we're residing now, to see if they're gonna find
Trustees from
assistance.
every township.
Yeah, but
Very.
since they're all at Carroll Manor, at Deer Creek, we didn't want to ask them to do it, but reach out to where they lived prior.
I'm saying every
Oh.
township in the county should be helping.
Should be helping, yeah. So we're reaching out to everyone calls
Brings
it
lots of
that.
money in the
Good
county
job.
coffers.
So, what, do you have an average rate?
Of,
What actually gets paid?
by the
No,
residents.
she didn't.
Yes, she did.
Well, she told me the rates, she didn't give me the quantity.
She told you the rates
There
and the
was
people she
10
has.
There was 10 and 2, that's the only ones I heard.
10,
Oh, and then
10,
10 and
10.
22, 10 to 21, 27, and 2 at 1444, that's all I heard.
And, well,
4 at the
For
negotiation.
negotiation.
so the state ones, and 2 of them are still at the state, or at Indianapolis, they don't pay the same. So, say, for example, one of them pays, I don't know, $1,000 self-pay, and then the state covers, they send a check for, oh, that one. Like the 2 RCAP, residential care assistance program people, their rates are different. How'd you come up with the 1440? Is that the
Our
four-
cap is like usually around
1364.
1148 or 1184, and
Plus,
she
what
gets
each of them pay by
She doesn't
themselves.
give them the month that they're
Right.
for, she gives them like 2 months
Yeah, 2 months,
late.
yeah. And I don't figure what the 2 people that they're there, the state determines what they pay, so I can't really determine that.
Days, it's not that long.
I can do just the 4th, the negotiated rate, and then the private pay. And the negotiated rate people were, so we have to wait on the state, we don't, it's different with the RCAP people, But-
It's usually 2 months late
yeah.
difference, I mean, but it's consistent, you know, but it's,
I'm coming
I'm saying it's
up
like
with
1180 something.
plus or minus $28,000
$13.50.
for the 16 people. If you've got 10 at full pay, you've got 2 at 1444.
Well, it will be, that's the new rate.
I just say they're not there yet.
Okay.
And so when the rate
It's not-
increases, the only people that affects is those private pay. There's no increase for the rest of the people, because they're already
It's
being
not.
charged the maximum amount.
It's,
Yeah.
it's in effect now, but, right?
Yeah, and
It'll go
I gave the
effective for
families, if they
September 1.
needed the 30 days, because it happened and it was in less than 10 days, I told them by October 1st, and some of them are gonna start paying, so October 1st, they'll pay for what they didn't pay September 1st.
So,
Because they
it's
have
not
no
gonna be
time.
showing in your
And then one of our private
reports is
pay
what I'm
people
trying to
will,
say.
at least one of our private pay people will now be applying for negotiated rate, because she won't be able to afford the new increase.
Well, I get 336,000 revenue-ish. That's the number I see at 16.
Mhm.
So it might be another,
How much, I had 412,
You said 412, 654.
that's over the average span in time.
oh, well, you're basing that off a 3-year rolling.
I'm basing it on an average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what your average is a 3-year rolling, right? I'm just basing it off of what she actually has.
Oh, okay.
We'll have.
Well, that's what she has. 4 more would add, if it's 4,000 a month, that'd be another 50, but that only put us up to less than 400. If they're all negotiated, which is that what
Yeah.
she said, right?
And it's a request of what, 565,000?
Yeah.
562.
And like I said, that's if ever, like the employee part, I'm not gonna pay everybody $16.50, they don't, I mean, I just did the max, and then I didn't do the minimum, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Being my first time, if I needed to put both numbers, so I just put the maximum number, so it could be less. There's some people that just now got bumped to the 13, so they're not gonna get, a raise right away, based on the performance evaluations.
Is there a number that funds Jackie?
For Carroll Manor,
Hmm.
tell you what it'll take a couple seconds here for it to pull up.
No worries.
I should add it to this list.
Okay. Any other questions for Jamie? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It'll pull up here in a second. Gateways.
Slow, still,
All right.
Gateway slow, the state, what?
They're rebuilding it, it's so bad.
Hello, Mrs. Bond.
Hello. How is everybody?